The great Armenian epical poetry, the Heroes of Sassoon. The epic of the Heroes of Sassoon has its origins deep in antiquity and was completed and finalized during the 10th and 11th centuries. Although there are references to this epic in some of the works of the Middle Ages, the epic was finally recorded in the 19th century by the compilers of mythology, who collected and recorded them under the title of Heroes of Sassoon. The roots of this epic can be found deep in the period of the ancient beliefs. As it was mentioned earlier, the primitive beliefs gave rise to mythology. Mythology was shaped and further refined into epics and legends of creation of the heaven and earth and epopees. Later on, these developed in three different directions: creation of the religious systems, the governmental systems, and the popularization of the topics, which resulted in the shaping of tales and fairy tales and the national heroic epics. The epics of Heroes of Sassoon begin with the Virgin Conception, which is a universal theme in the mythology of many civilizations. The goddess Tsovinard was impregnated by 1.5 handful of water and gave birth to twin brothers called Sanasar and Bagdasar. This is the primitive mythology of cosmos, pertaining to chaos and the two beings born from it. Like the primitive sagas, this also deals with the two great but opposite powers, the older brother being the embodiment of goodness and productivity, and the other the evil. Sanasar had 3 sons, the eldest Saranverko, who is the deity of the heavenly waters like rain, which result in irrigation, thus prosperity of the land. Therefore, he had economical significance. The second son is Tenov Ohan, who was an astrologist blessed with a great voice, thus functionally equivalent to a mediocre god of thunder. The third son, Great Meher, represented the god of thunderbolt. These figures of mythology represent the 3 phenomena which gave rise to the coming gods of the primitive societies: rain, thunder, and lightning, or gods with economical, spiritual, and military significance like Chald, Shavin, Tesheba, Armenian deities, Par, Tiran, Vulcan, or their Greek or Roman counterpart, Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon. When the Heroes of Sassoon was recorded, it was the primitive form which was preserved, rather than its form in the Hellenistic period. This is specifically apparent when stories about the god Zeus and the marriage of Sanasar, excerpt from the Heroes of Sassoon, are compared. These 2 myths have their counterparts in mythological epics of many other civilizations. From the neighboring regions, they are similar to the Persian epical poetry, the Shahnameh, and the works of Ovid, the Ossetic and Abkhazian, and other Caucasian civilizations' epics about the Nordic and the Celtic, and Indo-Aryan and Irano-Aryan early mythology. The Armenian epic is currently being studied. Grigor Narekati's works form the basis of the Armenian literature of the Middle Ages as well as the future. A worthy colleague of Grigor Narekati was Nerses Shnorali. In the Middle Ages literature we encounter names such as Grigor Magistros and later on Nahapet Kuchak. Kuchak composed beautiful Romance literature in a society where the dominating subjects were of spiritual and theological themes. He was a pioneer in this field like Petrarch was in the European literature. The dominating theme of his poetry was love. His ideas were real and tangible. He created beautiful scenes with great detail of color, style, and appearance. He created a realistic world by his literature, which is what makes his work so magnificent. Best representatives of Middle Ages literature are the works of Mkhitar Kosh and Vartan Aykekci. The Middle Ages was a period of much turmoil for the Armenian people. Constant wars, famine, natural disasters like earthquakes, demise of governments and kingdoms. The progression of barbaric tribes from the east resulted in mass migrations and change in historical and geographical realities of the world. It is midst of such political instability and social oppression that the unique figure of poet Freak came into being. Աստվածատուրիկ was blessed with great talent. He expressed the feelings, emotions, and the complaints of the subdued people. We have poor data about this great poet's background. We do not even know his real name. We know that he was a commoner who had lost everything. We know him as Freak, which means burning wheatgrass. This is the name he used to sign his work. His poetry contains both very dark humor and very strong humanism. His language is very interesting. His work is a good representation of the Armenian language used in the Middle Ages, and which later on gave rise to the modern Armenian now in use.